Mike Quigley, a Democrat who served on the House Intelligence Committee for 8 years, joins me now to talk more about it. And he is a lawyer. Congressman, good to see you again.
You too. Glad to be back.
So I want to start with one thing. The one thing we keep hearing from Republicans at this is a weaponized Biden administration. They've weaponized the FBI. They've weaponized the Department of Justice. Talk about how this works. What's the relationship between the Biden Department of Justice and the Biden administration?
Look, I think they've done a good job isolating it. If anything, the former president should feel like they've treated him with extra special care, right? They appointed somebody to take this over who was independent. They certainly took their time. If you read the original warrant on this for the Mar-a-Lago search, they followed that path, but they obviously took their time doing it. The case is assigned in South Florida with a judge that's very close to President Trump in many respects. None of my clients were treated as well as this president in my time as a criminal defense attorney.
Well, in one way, that judge you're talking about, Aileen Cannon, was appointed by Donald Trump in 2019. So that's a pretty close relationship. Just one follow-up to that. Republicans are also talking about the fact that this is Merrick Garland is doing this because he was passed over the Supreme Court. So this is all retribution. Would that be an impetus for the Department of Justice or the Attorney General?
Yeah, I haven't seen it under this administration. And if anybody weaponized this or attempted to, it was President Trump during his tenure as president of the United States, going after his enemies, taking it easy on asking Comey to take it easy on people who could make the president's life difficult, illegal, from a legal point of view. So the hypocrisy is pretty obvious. But the fact of the matter is, when they say these things, they really attack the rule of law, as if nobody could ever be prosecuted by the opposite party who's in power. So it's what we live with. It's the new world. But, I do think the American people, if given the opportunity to follow this matter, will understand they were treated fairly.
If ever a case sort of merged politics and the law, this is it. Why you're such the perfect guest. You are a lawyer. You, of course, practice law, but at the same time, you are a politician. And so let me also ask you, Jack Smith on Friday afternoon gave a very brief speech to the public where he basically said the national security is the number one thing for us, and we will always protect national security. I think part of that might be in response to Republican talking points, which is this is all a witch hunt, and they're after Donald Trump, and this is all very personal. Do you think Jack Smith, as the primary prosecutor here, is he concerned or should he be concerned about what the public's view of all this is and what the public thinks?
Well, sure. No one lives in a vacuum. Our courts don't. I think you saw that with the Supreme Court decision this week. But neither does the Department of Justice. They have to recognize that people have to respect the law and how it's carried out. Obviously, brief statements, because they always let the indictment speak for itself. But, what they spelled out here is what I want the American people to appreciate. In my 8 years on the Intel Committee, I never saw a Democrat or a Republican act like this. If they had, they would have been kicked off the committee. They would have been censored, and they would have been kicked out of Congress and charged in a lot less time than the former president had. And that those issues with national security, I think, play to the Republican playbook. They have to understand that what the president has done, as stated, and they're talking about this in the indictment, national security, protection of our military, our sources and methods, which is how we get intelligence and how that keeps us safe. And those that risk their lives telling us things that keep our country safe. President Trump risked all of that.
Yeah, sorry about that. So Republicans are very strong. You hear them in standing up for President Trump. They're everywhere to be seen. Democrats, in their usual approach, are a bit quieter. Some, like yourself, have issued statements to this. But the Democrats seems to be, let's see how it all plays out. That's a tough position to take when you're up against the Republican aggressive wall. Would you advise your fellow Democrats to speak out more loudly and speak back?
I think they can speak to what we know, what has transpired so far. Obviously, there's a tape that apparently a network has, and some of this will inevitably get out before the trial. So you can't simply let the Republicans play this out to this extreme, because let's remember, Representative Clay Higgins just called for a civil war as a result of this. To show you how messed up things are, when I heard this news, the first thought I had wasn't about the legalities. It was who's at risk, right? In law enforcement, people who investigate these things in the FBI, who's at risk, who are at risk on January 6th. You know, the president incited violence. Then he and his followers did after the New York indictment. And obviously, it's already started here. So that's part of this message. We have to show the American people, as calm and rational as we are, the facts require that this president, former president, was indicted. Let the rule of law play out. He has a presumption of innocence. And let's follow the rule of law and not get anybody else hurt.
And with just 30 seconds left, Congressman, after the former president indicted in New York, his poll numbers went up. I have every expectation that will happen this time around when polls are taken. What is your sense of why polls keep going up with each sort of negative thing that happens?
We live in a society that no longer believes I'll believe it when I see it. It's a society that says I'll see it when I believe it. They want so desperately to have President Trump back in office, they'll believe anything and disbelieve anything other than the facts, obviously, before them. So that's a concerning time. It shows another major reason why this country is so polarized. We have to calmly move forward and communicate the truth because without it, we're all in a lot more trouble.
Congressman Mike Quigley, you're always available wherever you are and whenever we need you. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.